Anything else that the sort of project lead at the nonprofit or foundation ought to be doing to make things go well?
Yeah, so I think that it's important for conversations to be had during the entire process. That sort of check-in calls. It's very easy for a project scope to change, to in most cases grow as the project develops, and many times that happens sort of congruently with the design process. So it's important to figure out whether that's something that's going to happen before the project starts, so you can build that into the scope of the project. Yeah. Because if, let's say, for example, a design team has a budget, they have a timeline, they've got a scope and a set of requirements, and then all of a sudden that starts to grow and change, and there's no platform to sort of talk about that or have that built into the scope, then it can create some challenges, down the road, saying, hey, this project was twice as big or took twice as long as we had initially discussed. You don't want to get to the end and then to sort of evaluate and realize that that's happened. So I think an open communication with the designer, the project manager, the account director of a design firm is really important. And then also just making sure, I mean, there's several things. I think respecting, this is definitely more of a personal motto that I try and follow, is respecting the time of a designer, and keeping emails within the expected hours, and making sure that the designers have enough time to sort of react to that, and just sort of respect time on and off the clock, I think is very important to maintain and sort of really have a good relationship with your designer, as well as being sensitive to designers' needs as well. Designers, we're sort of a funky bunch. We can be, many designers, have a lot of ego tied in with the work that they do. Sure. Many designers, are very focused on just giving the client whatever they want. It's finding that balance of making sure that the designers are happy with what they're doing, but then are also blending well and perfectly in line with what the clients are looking, to get. So there are conversations of, well, I really don't like that color. I want to stay with this color because I think it just looks better. That's a very arbitrary thing. So making sure that, there's really good communication during that creative process is very important, as well as overcoming challenges. Let's say, for example, a client isn't happy with the way something is looking. That's something that, does happen. And the client doesn't know they don't know what they don't like about a project. They just have a visceral reaction or something like that. Yeah. And that's where an experienced designer can, use what they've learned over the years to ask questions to sort of pull out sort of the essence of what they're reacting positively or negatively to. So that's I think a really important skill that a designer needs to have, but then also making sure that they're able to ask the right questions and get the right information out of the client. But just know that if you are, a client and you're frustrated with, a design approach, that, that conversation needs to happen, and there has to be a smooth, good, communication set up in place so that you can work through those challenges, because it's just a challenge. It's not personal. It's not, it's just something that needs to be worked into it.
Makes sense.